Okay, if you've been watching Death by Bunjie recently, you know I've had some success this year with my first year of using the foothold traps, but I wanted to make an episode about live animal cage traps, and that's what this episode of Death by Bunjie is all about. Again. Well, here we are in the woods. Right there's my trap, and if you look, looks like Genevieve was right. You can see the branches that I cut off of there, and we leaned up against it, sort of camouflage a little bit, and it looks to me like there's a raccoon in there. For 2 weeks, I haven't had any success with this trap, but it just goes to show you that even a box trap, I caught an opossum in this before without having the camouflage up, without putting any branches over it or anything. But the minute we put those branches up over it worked. I got to give credit to Genevieve for her idea, for we cut off some of this hemlock here and laid it over. And the first time I come back to check the trap, sure enough, we got a raccoon. So I'm couldn't be happier. I mean, this is a big raccoon. It's a nice big raccoon. So I'm pretty excited about it. In the end, we actually got that raccoon mounted. Genevieve is very proud of that, and that's one of the reasons I like these traps. You can introduce children to the outdoors with traps like this. They're great for kids because they're not as complex, not as complicated, and it gets them exposed with setting these traps, so it gets them exposed to baiting, where to set the trap, thinking about that kind of thing. It's really useful from that perspective as well. In fact, I used one of these traps down behind the barn trying to capture some woodchucks several years ago when my daughter was a little girl, and she played a joke on me by tripping that trap and putting one of her toys in it. I don't think she realized I had the whole thing captured on a trail camera that I set up over that trap. You might recall last summer, took her about an hour, but she trapped a woodchuck out from under the bird feeders, so we could get that animal removed as well. I was recently reminded how good these traps are by one of our YouTube subscribers, James Daly. He has a video on his channel, Team Daily Outdoors, that I watched here recently. I subscribed to his channel also, and he had a video on there about how to catch a raccoon in a live trap. Really interesting video, and it reminded me how useful these traps really are. I've caught a lot of raccoons over the last several years with these traps. As he does in that video, these traps are extremely useful in catching animals around your house, especially when there's a risk of catching the neighbor's cat or the neighbor's dog, or your own cat or your own dog. Now, there are 3 different sizes of these traps. There may be more, but there are 3 that I have. The one you're looking at here, this is the big guy. This is essentially worthless. I'll tell you that much. The concept of this is to catch those stray dogs. The concept of this trap, the purpose of this trap, I think it's intended to catch the coyotes and foxes, bigger animals like that. And I can tell you right now that the likelihood, maybe a domestic dog would get in here, but the likelihood of catching a coyote in one of these is next to none. I really don't think, in fact, I don't even set this one anymore, but I'm showing it to you just because I have it. The problem is coyotes are extremely smart. They don't want to go in an enclosed area like this, to head in there, to trip the trap on that little lever there on the door, and push that platform down and trip the trap. So they don't want to, they're too smart for this. I've gone and put some hay on here, tried that over the years, putting leaves, hay, and stuff like that to make it feel more like earth, to make it feel more comfortable as they're walking through there, and they just don't bite on it. It's just not going to work, really. A much more common size trap that you see is this guy. I've used this trap an awful lot over the years. This is a live trap, the appropriate size for raccoons, opossums, and animals like that. You could catch skunks in here, just about anything. This is a great size trap to have. This is one that I will continue to use. It's gone through an awful lot. You see I've had to reset the bar here. The bar's kind of bent on it. I've had to finagle it every once in a while and get that trap to work. And then even the door doesn't like to always latch, but you got to play with it before you set it and put it out there. But this trap works awesome. This is a great size trap to have, much more useful. The last size trap is this little guy, another useful trap. Smaller, intended for smaller animals. I have caught a squirrel in this, and I have caught a raccoon in this who took up the entire trap. Actually, his hair was sticking out on all the gaps in the mesh. But basically, that's a great trap too. This is another good sized trap, much smaller in size. Well, how do you use these traps? Real quick, I'll give you just a few tips on them. There isn't much to it. Learn how to set them, not a big deal. It's basically just lifting up the door. Get the door where you can work with it, and then there's just a little finger that sticks down, and you're going to latch it like that, and that works this little trap, the little platform. When they push down the platform, it'll drop that door. I use cat food for anything you're going to really catch in these traps. I recommend just using cat food. Get a little dry cat food, sprinkle it around the outside on the ground, and then a can of wet cat food, open it up, and throw that in the back here. For 49 cents, you got bait. You can't beat it. Throw that right in the back. The odor of that will attract some animals. They'll get some of the dry stuff first, feel a little more comfortable, go in there and trip the trap. It works great. You can see I've got a can right here left over from last year. You could put fruit in here, you can put cantaloupe in here. That supposedly works well for woodchucks. You kind of want to camouflage them. As you saw in the earlier video that I posted at the beginning of this video a few years ago, the first time we got one of these to work several years back, camouflaging it works really well. Put something over so the animal feels a little comfortable going in there. I have caught them right out in the open, and if you go down and find a nice thicket along the edge of the field, where there's some brush or some briars or something like that, you can tuck one of these traps right back up under the briars and set it that way, real easy, and that tends to work too. But you do want to camouflage it a little bit as well. Only thing to keep in mind when you camouflage it is make sure that arm is free. You don't want anything interfering with the ability of that arm or whatever mechanism trips this trap. You don't want anything interfering with the trap itself. You want to be able to make sure it can still move. Now, when you catch something, you can shoot the animal right in these traps. I just haul the trap over there, pick it up. They got nice handles on them. You might want to hold your hand over the door to make sure that they don't push the door, it doesn't fall open or whatever. But carry the trap to a different location, even 10 yards away. Dispatch the animal there, shoot it in the head with your .22 pistol or whatever you're going to do, then carry it back, dump the animal out, carry it back and just reset it. You can, if you do that, if you got blood in there, you're going to want to wipe the blood up, clean that up a little bit too, because that will deter animals from going in there. But kill the animal 10 yards away, you're fine. Put the trap back where it was and go back to trapping. So that's all I've got to tell you about the live traps. Get out there and use them. They're an important tool in your wildlife management arsenal. I wish you the best out there. I wish you nothing but good luck trapping or whatever else you're doing in the outdoors. And until next time, all hail Bunjie! But I'm showing it to you just because I have it. But this is a U. It's got briars on the front of it. Ow. Get that out of the way.